Hello and welcome. It's a real homecoming for Air India, which returns to the Tatas, which had pioneered civil aviation in the country in the 30s. But then Tata Airlines was nationalized subsequently. A couple of decades later, it became a government entity. Now, in a cash and debt swap deal, Air India has been handed over to the Tatas. An incredible new future for an airline which was bleeding as much as 20 crores every day. Joining us now, a very special guest, the Civil Aviation Minister of India, Jyotiraditya Scindia. Thanks, Mr. Scindia, very much for being with us. You know, a lot of people have been writing into us and offering their views and comments on Air India. It is a fantastic achievement that this has actually taken place. Could the government have indefinitely sustained Air India without disinvestment?
That, Vishnu, was definitely not a possibility. A company that after the merger in the last 14 years has sustained losses of close to 83,000 crores. And mind you, this after a 55,000 crore equity infusion and another 54,000 crore of government guarantee. So you're talking about an 83,000 crore loss on the balance sheet, plus close to 109,000 crore government guarantee plus equity infusion. And to top it all, you still have a debt of close to 61,000 crores. So you're talking about a company that has a total liability over the last 14 years of almost 250,000 crores and running a loss of 20 crores a day, which is 7,500 crores a year. Now, let me ask you as a taxpayer and through you to the viewers, is that the best utilization of taxpayers' money? Yeah. And the unequivocal answer to that is absolutely no. Yeah. And therefore, this transaction, which has been successful, and I would say it's a hallmark transaction, and the only reason why this has been successful is due to the imperative and the confidence infused by the Prime Minister in taking this important and challenging step. And I'm glad that we have concluded the transaction. The company is handed back to its erstwhile owners, the Tatas, and I'm very confident that under their stewardship, this will be a win-win transaction for all stakeholders in the civil aviation industry, especially the consumers in the days to come.
How challenging were negotiations to close out the deal? You did finally manage to end it all yesterday. I believe that a lot of the people on both sides worked very late hours. There were minute details which were being worked out.
Vishnu, I must thank all the officials at Air India, all the officials in the Ministry of Civil Aviation, or the officials in the Ministry of Finance, especially DIPAM, and as well as the officials from the Tata Group that worked tirelessly together to make this a reality yesterday. There were many issues, as I had mentioned in my last press conference, post the opening of the bids, the signing of the shareholders agreement, and then the satisfaction and the completion of the conditions precedent. All of those were successfully completed, including completely erasing and wiping off the debt of Air India prior to the handover. So this has been a landmark transaction, and the most important part, if I may add, has always also been the iterative and consultative process that has been possible to make this transaction a reality and a success.
No, but I understand that. I'm just trying to get from you a sense of whether it was tough or it went down really smoothly, because it's a very difficult transaction to have actually achieved.
No,
were there moments when you as Minister, Jyotiraditya, felt that, look, we are stuck over here, we're running out of time and we need to push forward? Were there instances like that? Describe to us this process. It was very complicated.
It was an extremely complicated transaction from an accounting perspective to be able to close the balance sheet, the P&L on a particular date. It was an extremely complicated transaction in terms of looking at all the current liabilities and negating them against the current assets, looking at what has to be transferred, what stays with the SPV, the core versus the non-core assets. And then, as you're aware, a number of litigative processes came up through the period, and therefore it's been an extremely trying period, which is why I'm using your channel to thank all the major players who made this transaction possible.
Be forthright with us, Jyotiraditya. Were there times in the last couple of days when you felt, oh no, we've come so close, but we are stuck?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, Vishnu?
Were there occasions in the last couple of days or perhaps the last couple of weeks when in your own mind you felt that, oh no, we've come so close, but we are stuck now, this part of the negotiations really needs to progress?
Well, it was not more to do with the negotiating process, because once a bid has come in, that bid has come in looking at all the due diligence that all parties had already done.
Right.
So I think it's not about negotiating, but it's about closing the transaction. And when you're closing a transaction, there are multiple timelines that have to be met. There are multiple targets that have to be met to be closed. And it was actually being able to meet those targets and those deadlines in a composite manner so that we close on the 27th of January, which was yesterday.
Will the government now sell Air India's property and land to pay off a part of the debt that you have retained? What happens to all those assets put into...
The total debt that had been retained is close to about 47,000 crores. As you are aware, all the non-core assets still lie with the SPV, which is Air India Asset Holding Company Limited. So all the non-core assets vest there. And I'm very confident the Ministry of Finance has already put a plan together. We have completely erased all the debt overhang on the company so as to make it a completely transparent transaction.
Do you intend to monetize this land or these landmark buildings in any form other than selling it off?
Well, that is a decision that the SPV will take, which is Air India Assets Holding Company. But we are very clear that all the non-core assets we do intend to monetize in the days to come.
How has the government ensured that jobs at Air India will be protected at least for the next 1 year? How is that a key part of the thinking?
Vishnu, that's inked in stone in the agreement. For the next 1 year, every job is secure within Air India, even though Air India has been transferred to its new owners. Along with that, a lot of the benefits that were due to the employees, or it's something that they asked for, whether it be medical, whether it be gratuity, whether it be pension, whether it be the dues from the committee that had been set up to look at employees' grievances. All of those will be taken care of by Government of India.
Okay. Will Air India now cease being India's national airline?
Well, I think Air India was in India's national airline, always will be. It will be India's national airline in your heart. It will be India's national airline in my heart, and it will be India's national airline in every Indian citizen's heart. And I'm very confident that under the new management with the Tatas, with the strategy, the human resource impetus, the consumer focus, Air India once again will command both the domestic and the international skies that it always did.
Will Indian Airlines, and this is a slightly broader question, be able to stage a financial recovery in 2022? I ask not just because of Air India, but Jet Airways trying to find its feet once again. You've got a new airline, Akasa, coming in. SpiceJet in financial distress at this juncture, and then and the backdrop is of course COVID. So 2022.
So Vishnu, when I took over in July, we were going through a very, very rough period at only 50% capacity, and with COVID Delta swaying above us. Airlines were looking at losses of close to about 19,000 crores in FY 2021 and 21-22. We've slowly regained our growth rate. In October, we removed all capacity caps. We were back to 100% capacity flying. In November and December, we once again touched 3.9 lakh passengers. Pre-COVID, we were at 4 lakh to 4.2 lakh. So we were almost back to normal. But then Omicron hit us. And of course, it has severely impacted the civil aviation space. There's no doubt about that. But I'm very confident that over the next few weeks, as hopefully, fingers crossed, Omicron recedes, we will once again, the sector, civil aviation sector will once again re-emerge, because today it has established itself as a very viable proposition for transportation across the country. And I'm very confident that we will once again emerge, and we have many policy levers that we have put in place across the sector, whether it is reducing indirect costs for airlines, or it is bringing new policy measures like MROs, helicopter policy, and so on and so forth. And we will continue with that imperative to bring back the shine onto the skies above India.
A final question. Now, despite Air India and the successful disinvestment process, why has the government been missing its disinvestment target of 1.75 lakh crore in 2022? How is it likely that this won't be realized? Why is that?
Please understand, Vishnu, that the world has gone through one of the most difficult periods in the last 100 years with COVID. Every economic theory and every possible hypothesis that you and I have lived with in our lives has been turned on its head. And therefore, and even with that, we have today posted one of the highest rates of growth in the world today. And so is the forecast for the next year. So we need to for the lack of a better analogy, we're on the runway and we need to now take off, as we are taking off as a country. And I'm very confident that over the next year, as things normalize, hopefully, you will see us also hitting the disinvestment targets. But mind you, even though the disinvestment targets may have not been hit, economic growth targets have been way surpassed.
Right.
And I think you've not seen that kind of economic growth for many, many years that we are today experiencing, thanks to the policies of the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister that they have promulgated.
A last question. What is your message to Air India employees who are now working for an entirely new entity for them?
My message is very clear. Every Air India employee today, or every Air India partner today, because I don't think, I don't look at Air India personnel as employees, but they're partners, they're equal stakeholders, have to look at ensuring that the Air India flag flies high again, as it did in the past. I wish them all the best, and I'm very confident that with the new owners at the helm, with the Tata Group, I'm very confident that as equal stakeholders, they will play a huge role in ensuring that Air India once again rises to the skies along with the Tatas.
All right, Jyotiraditya Scindia, thank you very much for speaking to us. Indeed, it is a new start for Air India with the Tatas. Let's hope the airline truly soars. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.